Welcome to Utopia, the Swiss pathway for a resident to become a specialist. Today we will talk about some tips and tricks, regulation, how to do it, and everything there is about it. So that you, when you are a resident in Switzerland, you know what to expect. If after the video you feel like you want more details, more examples, or to go deeper into this topic, you can check my blog. Yes, I have a blog, where I wrote an article called The Pros and Cons of the Swiss Residency System. In my blog, I wrote and I will keep writing the old topics you already know and some new topics, more opinionated ones. And I do also go a bit deeper in the details. So feel free to check them out. In some countries, becoming a specialist becomes a rather easy thing to do, honestly. Being the main difficulty that you have to get in the position, which admittedly is very hard. But once you're in the position, all you need to do is just not lose your mind for the 4 or more years that it takes, and then at the end you're a specialist. In Switzerland, also admittedly, is very difficult to get in some positions, that we have to say, and also you have to try not to lose your mind over 5 or more years that they share, that they have in common. However, in Switzerland, getting in is only the beginning, and working as a resident is no guarantee whatsoever that you will ever become a specialist, regardless if you work 5 years or 10 years. And yeah, let me explain you why. So as I said, becoming a resident in a specialty is no guarantee whatsoever that you will ever become a specialist in that specialty. The reason why is that there are a certain number of conditions that need to be met for you to become a specialist, and number of years is only one of many. They will force you to change hospitals, to do research, attend conferences, and even have experience in other specialties other than the specialty in which you want to become a specialist. To make it even a bit more complicated, each specialty has different kind of conditions that need to be met, and they look nothing like each other. Well, they have some similar things and similar understanding on the requirements, but they are different from each other. And so if you know which are the conditions for your specialty, you should visit this website in which they have a PDF for each specialty. And each PDF shows you a lot of information. As I said, not only the time, but also the how you should do it, conferences you should be attending to, kinds of research you should be doing, and many other conditions. For example, time that can be recognized from other specialties in the specialty you want to do, and also time that can be recognized from other countries in Switzerland. For example, if we go to my beloved anesthesia, let's see the requirements to become a specialist in anesthesia. Anesthesia requires a minimum of 5 years, out of which at least 1 year has to be done in a second hospital, so you cannot do all 5 years in the same place. Out of those 5 years, 2.5 have to be done in an A hospital. And out of those 2.5 years, at least one has to be done in an A1 hospital. Additionally, in order to become a specialist, I need to have published. I don't have to get a doctor med. It doesn't have to be a huge publication, but I need to have published. Also, I need to do a minimum of 6 months in the intensive care unit. And it's a minimum of 6 months, and it gets recognized up to 1 year. And if that wasn't enough, after having all of these requirements, I still need to do 2 exams. One of them is written, one of them is oral. I know it looks very complicated, but in my case, it actually is not that hard. For example, in my case, coming from Germany, I already come from a second hospital to Switzerland, so I already have the first requirement. I did manage to get in an A1 hospital, so most of the requirements are over time. And working in an A hospital, you get to know many professors who will give you opportunities to research and therefore to publish. So over time, all of these requirements are met. However, not all of the specialties have it that easy. To show a specialty that really doesn't have it that easy, we are going to talk about dermatology. First of all, you need to work at least 5 years, out of which, just like in anesthesiology, 1 year has to be done in a second hospital, so you cannot do the whole thing in the same place. You are allowed to research, and you should research, and up to 1 year it gets recognized. It is possible to recognize 1 year from allergology or angiology. The research you do cannot be considered as a hospital working time. And here is the most important condition and the main bottleneck, which is that Out of the 5 years, or how many years it takes, at least three need to be done in an A hospital. And this is a huge bottleneck, and the reason why dermatology is so difficult to become a specialist in. The thing is, Switzerland is a very small country, and for dermatology, there are very few A hospitals. And there's limited amount of positions, and it's very difficult to get in. But it doesn't end there. Once you get in, you want to stay 3 years long, at least 3 years long. So it's not like anesthesia, in which if you want to get in an A1 hospital, you only have to do 1 year and then you can get out of the A1 hospital and go to a simple A2 hospital where there are more positions. Therefore, it is possible for a more fluid rotation and change of residents in the A1 hospitals. In dermatology, there's just the A hospital and there's few of them, there's few positions, and once you get in, you don't get out in 1 or 2 years, you stay the whole 3 years. Therefore, not only there's many people trying to get in, once you get in, you hold your position as hard as you can, and you don't get out until you're done with your requirements, until you're done with the 3 years. Therefore, it also makes a huge backlog and a waiting line of dermatologists who are working in B hospitals, in C hospitals, in D clinics, who already have 2, 3, 4 years of experience, who are just waiting to get in the A hospital where they will need to do another three. So it is often the case for dermatologists that they only complete their specialty after 6, 7, 8, or more years. And it is just because it is so difficult to get in the place where you have to do plus three. Another negative consequence of this huge demand for the position and limited amount of positions in dermatology is that the hospital has no incentive whatsoever to make it a nice residency, to give you a nice working environment or conditions, or to give you a competitive salary, because they know that no matter what they give you, you will take it. And if you don't take it, someone else will. There's a huge waiting line. So it's also common not to have not such a happy doctors, because why do you need a happy doctor when you can just replace that doctor? Also, and leaving dermatology aside, considering all the specialties, there's another negative consequence of the specialties in Switzerland, which is that since you are forced to change hospitals, often you do need to change cities. And if you do need to change cities, it is difficult to keep long standing relationships, friendships with your colleagues at work when you know that maybe you're going to see them for 1 year, but then you're already planning your next position, which they gave it to you or you found at the other side of the country. So maybe that's also a negative aspect, that you know you need to change hospitals, you need to change where you're living, and you need to change friendships a bit more often than you would like to, at least at the beginning as a resident. Because often people need 7+ years to finish the specialty, it is often the case that they get discouraged during this time and they drop it after 2 years, or knowing they have to wait 2 to 3 years to get in the A hospital, and then they make a change somewhere else. So I don't mean to discourage you, and I think you should follow your dreams when it comes to choosing a specialty, but don't follow them blindly. Be aware that maybe there's a mathematical reason why you may not get in there, according to your age, according to your experience, or how strong you are as a resident. It may be, or how weak you are as a resident compared to others. It may be the case that you need to take much longer to get in and to finish, especially to finish. So it's something important for you to keep in mind. Now, like I said, for more deep discussions of this topic and other topics, come to my website, utopiamed.com. And for really not so deep discussions and more everyday life and my experience as a resident here in Switzerland, you can check my Instagram. Every now and then I put up some stuff that I experience, and yeah. And that will be everything for today. Hope you had fun, and see you next time. Take care.